So my history with this show goes back 20 years. I remember seeing the advertisements for this on television way back in the day on TBS to be specific, I think it was. And I remember thinking it looked interesting at the time. I think even as a kid I was interested in period pieces and the subject matter seemed intriguing. Traveling carnival show. This is not the type of show I would have been allowed to watch at that age though because this thing is
No.
so full of nudity and profanity. And so I heard about this a lot over the years, and everything I heard about it was good, and I always heard that it was canceled prematurely and that was a crying shame. So I finally watched it a few months ago this year. I wanted to watch it first to see if it ended on a satisfying enough note to where you and I can watch it together, because the biggest disappointment would have been to watch through this thing and for the whole thing to feel like a waste of time. So, this is the first season we're going to be talking about today. Carnival 2003, created by Daniel Nauf. What did you think?
Um, I like the show. I'm not like enthralled by it yet. I am kind of worried that it's going to end up going nowhere by the end of the second season. I have ideas for what I think the story is and where I think it's going. I wonder if they're going to be able to give like satisfying answers or any kind of conclusions by the second season because that's all we have. I like the show. I like all the characters for the most part. I like most of the actors for the most part. There's some things that I kind of wish were different or better about it, but I guess we can get into that, as we talk.
Yeah, I absolutely love this show. To me, this isn't just good, the show is Twin Peaks good.
Oh no, hell no.
And, well, maybe you'll think differently when you get to
Maybe,
two.
yeah, maybe by two, but
This to me felt like it could have been the next Twin Peaks had it been allowed to finish itself out, because so much television is influenced by Twin Peaks, and when you watch it, you can see it. This felt like its own thing. It has a world that feels unique to itself,
yeah, it
doesn't feel like it's.
doesn't feel super derivative of a lot of things. Although I feel like some of the elements of the story maybe I've seen other places since then.
And this is despite the fact that it literally has an actor from Twin Peaks in it.
Yeah.
So there's two plot lines running through this show. One plot line involves a traveling carnival that picks up this guy Ben in Oklahoma, and Ben, they come to find, is a healer. He can heal whatever ails you by transferring life out of something else. Like
Hmm.
if you have a broken arm, he can take you to the middle of a river and repair your broken arm by taking all of the life from all of the fish in the river. So in order to give life, he
Yeah,
has to take it
yeah.
from
In order to
something.
give something, you have to take something from somewhere else.
And then the second plot line involves a Methodist preacher, Brother Justin Crow, who's looking to expand his ministry. He has come to believe that he is the left hand of God, and he tries to open a ministry by buying this brothel.
Yeah, and he opens it to like immigrants and people who it's what 1930s, so it's extreme prejudice against like these certain types of people.
Yeah, the common townsfolk do not look upon the immigrants with favor. They don't want them in the church. Brother Justin's church is getting overcrowded, so he comes up with this idea of buying this place Chin's, which is this Asian brothel, and turn it into his next ministry, Dignity Ministries, I think he calls it. And he opens it up to the immigrants and faces opposition from the local politicians. And ultimately, the ministry is burnt down by someone who is not revealed until the end. So between these two storylines, did you think one was more intriguing than the other, or what did you think?
Um, yeah, I thought the Justin storyline, the preacher guy, was much more interesting. At least from the beginning, there's a big chunk in the middle where it feels like that storyline's kind of like sidelined for a while, and then they kind of pick it up in the last few episodes. On the flip side, I don't think that the Ben storyline really starts to get interesting until the back half. So it's like this weird kind of back and forth between these two. Sometimes the show is like very interesting, and then sometimes I'm just kind of waiting for something to happen or, be followed up on. But yeah, overall, I was more interested in the Justin storyline because it seemed like it had more progression, at least in the beginning. But like I said, it just kind of disappeared. And then the Ben storyline, I was just waiting for like when are we going to kind of like start to, develop this and get this going anywhere? And then the last couple episodes, they kind of dump it all there.
Yeah, reviews for the show back in 2003, there were a few that pointed out that the story moves along at a glacial pace. It sometimes takes a long time for
That's
anything to happen.
Yeah, that's my biggest problem with the show is I don't think there's enough forward momentum going on with both storylines, and that's the thing that worries me about this being 2 seasons is because like if this is the pace we're moving at, I don't see this story being wrapped up for like another 4 seasons. I could see like this seems like this was planned as like a 5 or 6 season show and they got their legs cut off really early. So I can't imagine how the next season is going to be any kind of satisfying wrap up because this seems like they were playing the long game from the beginning, which
Yeah,
is probably a bad idea when you're doing this, weird carnival HBO show that's probably not going to have a super large audience to start out with. Like, I don't think the hooks are good enough from the beginning to keep this going. I feel like they needed a little bit more forward momentum and progression in the first season to really get people hooked on it.
that is the tragedy of this show, as it turns out. This was planned out in advance. The creator, Daniel Nauf, mapped out the entire storyline from beginning to ending, came up with the entire lore and mythology beforehand, and he had planned this out as six
Yeah,
seasons.
it's
Each season, it would be 3 chapters, 2 seasons each. Each 2 seasons would represent a chapter in a book.
they say don't count your chickens before they hatch, and that was what I was feeling kind of this whole time is like I bet this guy knows like right down to the scene like exactly where this story's going and where the characters are going to end up by the 6th season, but he's never going to get it because we're taking too long to move the story.
I do like both plot lines. I do think in this first season, the brother Justin storyline does move faster and more consistently than does the Ben storyline, and that is one thing that I do take some umbrage with. I do have some slight criticism of is that Ben Hawkins, the protagonist, is kind of a frustrating character because every damn episode it's loads trying to talk to him about his gift, trying to teach him something about it, and it's just Ben saying, "Leave me alone.
Yeah,
I don't want it.
that
Can't you leave me alone? Go away."
yeah, yeah.
Over and over again for 12 episodes
It
until the
becomes
last
like
2.
kind of comical, just like how much this guy is refusing to get with the program. Is like, dude, you have these gifts. It's pretty ridiculous that you're not exploring this in any kind of way. And also, I don't know about Nick Stahl in this season yet. I'm not sure I care for him.
I like him. I think he does a solid job. Do understand why Ben is so reluctant because he's been told by his mother all his life that he was a freak, that he's filth, that he's trash.
Yeah,
Because his mother at the beginning of this show is dying. She's on her deathbed in the Dust Bowl. She's sick. He desperately wants to just heal her, and she just will not let him touch him. Stay away. You are filth.
yeah, he,
The devil is in you. He healed a kitten in his youth when he was a kid, and the mother would not accept that, so she killed the damn thing. So he's got that
yeah.
trauma that's holding
I,
him back from wanting to explore it.
I I feel like maybe a different actor could have made this work a little better because the main emotion that Stahl plays seems to be like slack-jawed confusion all the time.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's just the fact that he constantly wants to be left alone and he's always trying to like be by himself and do his own thing. Yeah, he is kind of frustrating and it was hard for me to get attached to him in any kind of way. But the thing that makes him interesting to me really is how he is propped up to be some kind of opposition against brother Justin in this season and potentially going forward because they keep having these kind of like nightmares or visions of each other and we don't know what they mean yet or how they relate to each other. Like on paper, they don't relate to each other in any kind of way because one is just a preacher traveling around and trying to start up this immigrant church, and the other one's like a guy who works with the carnival.
Yeah, to be specific, brother Justin is based in California.
Yeah, and they're not even in the same location.
Yeah,
So
they are separated by thousands and thousands of miles. And that was the thing that was very interesting to me going about this. Watching this the first time was like, man, how are these two going to intertwine? I'm very intrigued to see how or if this ever happens.
yeah,
What do you think of the Carnival characters, the whole cast? We got Samson, the diminutive ringleader. We got Sophie, the tarot card
Yeah,
reader, and Apollonia, her comatose mother. We have Jonesy, who's Samson's right hand man and his and
yeah.
physical manual labor. And we have Felix, who is
Is he the drunkard?
yeah, he's the drunkard who runs the Coot Show, and his wife Rita May, and their daughter Livy and Dora May. Then you got Professor Loads, the mentalist. You got Lila, his female
Yeah,
accomplice.
that this is one problem that I have is like there's just so many characters and so many names to keep track of. I can't remember half their names. At least not off the top of my head. Samson is like maybe the best character in the show.
Yes, that is my favorite character. I want to say Brother Justin because I find him very compelling, and I love Clancy Brown, as you know, big fan of him. But man, oh man, Michael J. Anderson is just seizing every
Yeah,
opportunity to be as charismatic and interesting as
it,
possible.
he's kind of like almost chewing the scenery, but really the way he plays it is he's like an authority figure despite like his, small stature. But he also seems like he actually cares about the people that work for him.
Yes, he's compassionate. Ultimately, he kind of has a distance between himself and Ben, but he does care and he does love
Yeah.
his carnival brethren.
And this could change, but at least for the moment, it seems like he doesn't exactly know what is going on with at least Ben's character because that seems like that's Lode's pet project.
Yeah, Samson answers to the mysterious management.
Yeah, I
And
have ideas about what that's about.
thus far, management exists as a disembodied voice behind a curtain that
Yeah.
only
Sometimes
Samson or Loads is allowed to talk to.
yeah, sometimes sounds like a man, sometimes sounds like a woman. I'm not really sure exactly what to make out of him. I think I have an idea of who or what it's supposed to be, but we'll see when we get there.
I knew who that voice actor was instantly, by the way, when as
Oh,
soon as I heard
well,
it.
that doesn't surprise me. Yeah, he's probably my favorite character. I like Jonesy a lot. I really like oh, what's her name? The daughter of the comatose lady.
Oh, Sophie,
Sophie. Yeah,
the
I like
tarot
I
card
like
reader.
her quite a bit. I think she's one of the better actors on the show.
Yeah, Clay Duvall.
Loads to me I found to be the most frustrating character because
He is a son of a bitch.
he's a total asshole. You'd think somebody, wanting to groom this guy into, using his gifts for what purposes, I'm not really sure yet.
Yeah, his motive is mysterious. It's
Yeah,
unknown.
yeah, but you think he'd take a little bit of a softer edge to the whole entire operation, but no, he's just like is like hard on the guy as you could possibly be, and it's just totally the wrong way to go about this.
I hated that son of a bitch, and I was so glad to be rid of him at the end of it. This is all spoilers, by the way. Yeah, watching it a second time, I was able to really appreciate that actor's performance, and I liked his character more a second time. But my God, what an asshole! I was so happy when he was done in the end.
Yeah, and
Just a prick.
his, bearded lady girlfriend, I really don't like her at all
Yeah,
because she's, like, just as bad as him, and
she's
if not worse, because she's, like, encouraging the whole
yeah,
thing.
she is an enabler. She's horrible. I don't like Lila either. You
Yeah.
you brought up a moment in the show where he abuses her. He like
Yeah!
smacks her
Like,
around.
what the hell is that about?
Watching that scene again, I think he was just taking his frustration out on her. The first time I watched it, it's like Ben has just healed Gabe's broken arm, and Lila witnesses this. So she goes to Professor Loads and said, "That kid just healed Gabe's left arm all by himself."
He's mad that he had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, and she starts goading Loads to act. She's like, "What are you gonna do about it?" And he's already kind of pissed off when he's alone in his cabin. He's sitting there saying, "I have no time for games right now," and she's goading him. And then he leaps up out of bed when he hears that he did it all by himself, and he just needs to take his anger out. And so he takes it out on Lila, just beats her with his cane.
Yeah.
It was so weird the first time. I thought, "Is this a kink?"
Well, that's what I thought. It's like, well, this is either an abusive relationship or this is like their kink, and she is into it. So whatever. But yeah, you would think that that would be a moment of realization for him, where he's like, okay, maybe I went about this the wrong way, and I need to change my tactic here because, or just not mess with the guy at all because he seems to be learning this on his own. But I guess it really depends on what his motivation is and why he wants to be so involved in the first place. But yeah, I enjoyed his character, like being on the show, but I didn't like his character. I thought he was a scumbag, and I was happy to see him go, but I also think that it's probably exactly what they wanted to happen. Management that being who I'm talking about.
Yeah, in the end, Ben is faced with a moral dilemma. Ruthie, the snake charmer, gets bitten by a snake, and management tells him to save a life, you have to take another. And to me, it was like the most obvious thing. It was like, dude, just kill Loads. He's evil. He's useless. But Ben, not wanting to harm anyone's, I won't do it. But ultimately, when management reveals to Ben that Loads is the one who poisoned Ruthie
Yeah.
with a lethal snake, that's when Ben just kills his ass.
And again, like the total like wrong tactics. If you're using brute force to do something that needs to be nurtured, probably because kind of one of the similar themes that's going on between the two characters, like Ben and Justin, is how their powers can make them easily corruptible if they're like fall into the wrong hands or if they're corrupted by the wrong people. Another thing I find interesting is where I think the characters are probably intended by the characters in the show to be like set on a certain path, but they're kind of like doing the opposite. It seems like Justin is like a man of God, and you would think that he's on a holy mission and he's trying to do the right thing. And they set him up as like actually kind of a good person in the beginning. He likes the immigrants. He wants them to be part of the church. He doesn't have a problem with them. He's not prejudiced or racist against them.
He sees an opportunity to transform this brothel, just a place of vice and sin, into a house of
Yeah,
God.
there's he doles out like punishment in his own kind of way. He makes people see their sin and stuff like that. Like he shows a pedophile, look at what you've done, and you think you're a good man, and this is the stuff that you've done.
Yeah, he can touch you and make you see your sin from a third person's perspective.
Yeah, but eventually the ego comes in and he starts to really fully believe that he's like the right hand of God and he's capable of doing this thing or that thing, or he has the power to just punish whoever he wants and take matters into his own hands. And it seems like he becomes corrupted by the devil or some kind of demonic presence, so it's like the holy man who's on the righteous path becomes twisted by his power. And then on the flip side, it seems like management is some kind of evil presence. And I don't know what their motive is, but maybe they are also like a demonic entity or like Lucifer, or I'm not exactly sure, but it seems like they're trying to use Ben's like abilities. He's almost like a Christ-like figure, and they're trying to make him into like some kind of antichrist, but he's like such a reluctant person and he seems like he's actually good-hearted and wants to do the right thing. So he's kind of becoming the opposite. And again, it's like all these characters trying to twist these people for their own needs. Loads especially. Loads can also talk to management, and management is, it seems like, directing a lot of this stuff. So I'm that's the thing that's most interesting to me about the show, is where these two characters are going and kind of the themes between the two, and just like the powers in general. It seems like there's several characters that have some kind of abilities. There's a lot of like biblical references and biblical stuff going on. I don't know what some of the other characters could be referencing with like some of their abilities or powers, but that's another thing that I'm curious to see going forward what they do with for the only remaining season.
One of the things I really like about the show is that even though you come to really love all these characters, and I do, I think every character is compelling and interesting. And
Except the lizard man.
yeah, he kind of sucks.
He's
Uh,
kind of useless.
yeah, there are a few like minor people here and there that I would not miss if they were gone. But you're also reminded frequently that they're not exactly great people, because very early on,
No,
one of the
there's
things they do is they make Ben perform a fraudulent healing,
yeah.
and that whole scene is just great.
Well, part of why I feel like management is evil and their whole purpose is to like spread evil and turn all these people into forces for evil. Because there's a lot of times when they're kind of down on their luck or they've run out of money and they yeah, okay, we'll do like a special show tonight, but we'll like just rip everybody off.
Yeah,
We'll steal their wallets and we'll tell them we're gonna do one kind of show and it's a bait and switch.
yeah. I
A
love
man eating chicken.
I love the yes, it's literally a man eating a plate of chicken.
Yeah.
I love the intricate details, the inner workings of the carnival. Like Samson, he'll draw a line of chalk on the backs of several people who come into the carnival, and that's a mark to be like, take their wallet, pickpocket them.
Yeah, it's interesting to watch, yeah, like you said, the inner workings of the carnival and see how they operate and all the conning that goes on and the fraudsters at work and
Yeah, or they'll lie about being religiously based in order to perform in a church town, basically.
yeah, then there's also like cases where, you can't come back to this town because you ripped everybody off and they know what you done. And then there's also like some stuff that goes on like with the miners.
Yeah, we were gonna get to this eventually. The mining town arc. That's one of the high points of the season.
Yeah, it was probably the most interesting stretch of episodes to me just because I was like there was actually some kind of like emotion and like something big actually happened to the carnival that
Yes,
seemed to affect everybody.
the carnival has a set circuit that they travel down, but suddenly management tells them you're going through Babylon. You're going south when you should be going north. So they travel to this mining town called Babylon, which is completely barren and empty. But in the night, it's inhabited by these basically zombie ghost like miners who are all dirty and lecherous and just full of vice.
Yeah, which is all the more curious when one of the ladies performing in the show is like sliced up and cut up and killed
Yeah,
for doing the thing that they came there to watch.
yeah, they she performs the coot show, and she bears all, goes completely nude, and then the miners get really handsy and they call off the show. So in retaliation, the miners take her, carve the word harlot into her forehead, and hang her. And then her spirit is cursed to live in that miner town as their
Yeah,
plaything
horrible.
forever.
Just freaking horrible.
Terrifying. And I love the way I love Samson's reaction to that when he sees Dora May's ghost in the tavern with I think it's John Hannah's character, the
Yeah.
guy who killed her, and he's just crestfallen. Great performance.
Yeah, also in kind of the moment of the season, I think, is when he goes to confront him because they have this whole kind of carnival justice system,
Yes.
and it doesn't really work out so much in their favor, but it's fair.
Yeah, it's basically a game of Russian roulette.
Yeah, and the guy who committed the crime is essentially let go, but Samson's not having none of that. And this is where you really, he really proves that he's gonna go to any lengths to take care of his own and to get retribution for whatever happens to them. Because he talks a smooth game to this guy and sets him off balance, and immediately just puts a bullet in his head when the chance arises.
Yeah, gets the information that he needs out of him, and then thanks for the whiskey. Boom.
Yeah, like, he can't live. You know it's gonna happen. You're just waiting for him to do it, and it's satisfying when he does it. And again, it's just like kind of a revealing moment about his character, just how far he'll go for his people, and just how the situation affected him personally.
How do you feel about Felix and Rita May, the mother and father of the daughters who do the
Yeah,
Coos Shank show?
the mother, I thought she became more interesting as the show went on, particularly with the whole Jonesy back and forth. There was
Abs-
something kind of nice about their relationship to each other. He's like this kind of crippled guy who's got some kind of injury, maybe like war. I can't remember if they stated specifically what it is.
he was a baseball player, and
Mm.
I think they had a flashback that he got his like knee smashed in by the mob. It's a very quick, brief flashback that happens
Oh,
at the very beginning of an
I don't
episode.
remember that at all. But it's kind like the carnival is known for being like a freak show, and everybody's weird and like disfigured or what have you. But there's like this really like tender kind of sequence between these two where she's pulling off his brace and he's got his mangled knee and leg and it's all cut up from surgery and whatnot. But it doesn't seem to bother her in any kind of way. So I liked the two of them together. Felix, the guy is just like the guy is useless. He's terrible at what he does. He makes wrong decisions all the time. He wakes up and starts drinking. He goes to bed drinking. It just not a great person.
I love both those two. I love Felix as a character. He's such a great lovable loser.
He's definitely a loser.
That actor Toby Huss, not only was he the Wiz on Seinfeld, but he was also the voice of Khan and Cotton Hill on King of the Hill.
Mm,
But yeah, I love that whole storyline. Dora May, their daughter, dies because Rita May encourages that she bear all in the Coot show, and she gets killed because of it. And I guess this kind of drives a wedge between those two. So Felix basically prostitutes her out to Jonesy,
yeah,
which is also to help Jonesy because the man is like pining for Sophie, but he can't act on
yeah.
it. And then they kind of become something of a couple. They share, like you said, tender moment together. But then,
Well, and also Felix is too drunk all the time to actually do anything with his wife, so he's got to
yeah,
have other men please her for him.
I
It's pathetic.
yeah, I buy those two as a couple. I find them very believable.
Yeah, I guess so.
They play off each other well.
I was hoping like the Jonesy thing would go on a little more because they seemed more of a match than him and Sophie.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of
It's just weird to me. Like
Jofi.
Jonesy, yeah, Jovi.
It does just come off as creepy.
Yeah, it's weird. Like the guy seems like he's quite a bit older than her. At least that's the way it's portrayed on the show. Like she's probably too young for him. But she starts to become interested in what's her name? The daughter.
Libby.
Yeah. I liked their kind of friendship and back and forth, although it becomes kind of like bitter and hateful towards the end. But yeah, I liked anytime they got to do anything because at least she was out of the house and not talking to her comatose mother who's psychically throwing stuff at her and smacking her around.
That's the other aspect of the show that I have a slight criticism of. Like the brother Justin storyline is constantly progressing as he tries to expand his ministry, and there's that radio guy who's trying to get the message across, and Iris, the sister. But in the carnival, it just becomes like a love octagon because it's like Ben likes Sophie, but then Ruthie also likes Ben, and Ben likes Ruthie, but he can't act on it because it's sinful to have intercourse out of wedlock. But then Jonesy also likes Sophie, but then Felix falls out of love kind of with Rita May, so he prostitutes her out to Jonesy, and then Jonesy ends up with Rita May. But then an opportunity comes for him to be with Sophie, so he wants to be with Sophie. But then Sophie is having a relationship with Livy. It's like wow,
Yeah,
it's a mess.
it and it all seems like everybody's doing it just to get back at one another. Yeah, it is a total mess.
How did you feel about the Ruthie Ben ship? It's very brief, but
Oh, you know, that was weird to me from the very beginning. I'm not entirely sure how old Ben is supposed to be. Is he in like his 30s or 40s?
no, Ben, I think he's supposed to be 18 or 19. He's
Okay,
young.
well that was my first like instinct, but he doesn't look
Mm.
18 or 19 at all. He looks very old.
Well, it's
Um
the Dust Bowl. People age like shit back then.
yeah, I guess. But and then she is like much older than him and he seems to have a thing for her like immediately.
Well, she is Adrienne Barbeau, and she's
Yeah.
looking good for her age.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just kind of strange to me and also like her being a snake charmer is just kind of funny because
Yeah, dude.
she
And
she charms all the guys.
yeah, I liked it. I kind of wanted him to act on it. Instead, he was turning away from her. I can't. It's a sin. It's like it's Adrienne
Well,
Barbeau, dude.
also Sophie's right there and
That's true.
much more his age, and he doesn't go anywhere with that. In fact, he's like their first big argument. I was just like, "Geez, chill, dude. Like, come on." Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see if they do any more with that. But like in this first season, I wasn't really buying it too much.
Back to the brother Justin storyline. I love the way his story ends in this season. He's got this mentor figure, Norman, who took him in when he was a young little kid, and Norman slowly becomes suspicious of Justin as Justin gets progressively darker and darker, and then finally, in like the last episode, brother Justin basically comes to him and says, "You think
You
you're
know
so
what you
clean?
must do.
Everyone has a sin. So what is yours?" So he puts his hand on Norman's shoulder, and he finds out that Norman's greatest sin, the greatest evil that he ever
Was
committed,
saving Justin's
was
life.
saving his life. And that's when brother Justin realizes, oh shit, I'm a fraud.
Yeah,
I'm the hand of the devil.
I'm the bad guy. Um,
And then he begs Norman to kill him.
yeah, yeah, and of course he doesn't do it.
Yeah.
Um, and by that point, it's too late because this guy has totally been corrupted now. He's got the black eyes and everything. He's got those black eyes.
Those eyes.
Yeah, curious to see where that goes because he's gonna be twisting some heads around if people don't listen to him. I do like the look of the show.
It's beautiful. They clearly spent some damn money on this.
That's the other thing that I think was probably a problem is yeah, it looks like it's a more expensive show than it probably should be on paper, but yeah, it's a good looking show. I like the locations. I like, the carnival set. It seems like it's all there.
Yeah, it was. Everything was shot on location. There's like minimal CGI, although it does crop up every now and then. And
Yeah.
part of the reason why it got canceled is because the cost of the show was not recouped in viewership. So
Yeah. Um there's also the war guy, what's his name? C starts with a C or something like that.
Scudder,
Scudder, yeah.
yeah, Hack Scudder, Henry Scudder. He worked the geek show at the carnival, and a big plot point involves Samson and Ben trying to track down Scudder. Where'd he go? It seems he was Ben's father,
Yeah, it seems that way.
and he frequently crops up in visions that Ben has, often leading him in the right direction.
Yeah, I'm wondering if maybe Scudder or Scudder's spirit or something is management,
Hmm.
and that's who they're talking to, and maybe that's why he's trying to direct loads to move his son or Ben in a certain direction. Whatever he is, it seems like evil presence. Yeah, we'll see if that's continued at all.
Do you have like a prediction, like a concrete prediction for next season, or
I don't think that Justin and Ben are going to meet physically.
hmm,
I hope I'm wrong about that because that seems to be like a major.
they're miles apart?
Yeah, they are very, very far from each other. Maybe you know, what they're doing reaches each other in other ways. But I hope that they come into conflict sooner rather than later to kind of capitalize on the visions we were getting earlier. I mean, there's straight up a scene where they're in a diner together.
Yeah.
So when's that going to happen? Is that actually going to come to fruition? I think maybe Ben's going to get some information about his purpose, like what he's actually here to do, and it's going to be whether or not he, follows through in that and becomes what everybody's kind of set him up to be, or if he, does his own thing and he, stays good natured and helps people and does the right thing. And then Justin, is he just gonna stay evil the entire time, or is he ever gonna have any kind of redemption? Um, Seems unlikely. I don't really know. It's hard to know because there's 4 seasons we're never gonna get to see. Again, that's my biggest fear is that I'm gonna get to the end of the second season and just be like, well, that's that, and I'll never know how it wraps up.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what you'll think of the quote unquote resolution, I guess, the way it ultimately wraps. Because like I said, I've seen it, and I very much like both seasons a lot. And I think that the the way that season 2 of this show wraps up is a more satisfying conclusion than the way season 2 of Twin Peaks wrapped up
Mm.
28 years ago,
Well, I wonder if maybe
before
like
it was rectified with season 3.
yeah, I wonder if maybe these two seasons will actually have some kind of proper resolution, and maybe 3 and 4 would have been a follow up, but telling its own story separate from the previous two, but working in similar themes with maybe the same characters or different characters. I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty much impossible for me to know where this is going, considering there's 4 seasons of mapped out storylines that I'm just thinking, oh, I bet he was going to wrap this up in season 4, or I bet we get an answer to this in season 5. So I don't know. I hope that it moves faster than this first season, because there was a lot of times where I was just like, man, where's this going? Like, where are the characters going? Because we're just like literally sitting in place. Like, there's one episode where pretty much nothing happens. It's just like them doing a carnival. And then I think something big happens near the end of the episode, and I was like, okay, so that's what we spent all this time watching for. Um, so yeah, I hope it's speedier. I want more character stuff and more development faster. Get some of the more unlikable or useless characters either out of the show or just like out of the way, so we can focus on kind of the main crew. I think.
Hmm. For as glacial as it was, I was always thoroughly engrossed. I loved hanging out with these people. I Some of the most interesting characters I've seen on a television show.
Yeah, I was never bored watching it. Like you said, it's always interesting to be around these characters and see what they're doing. But it's always in the back of my head, like we are working on limited time. Like we need to get this moving. So after this first season, it's not surprising to me that this was canceled because, like I said, it's probably too little in this first season for how much this cost to make, I'm sure, and for the limited viewership it got for the subject matter that they're working with. And man, he should have worked out like a deal or something where like I'll do the show, but you got to guarantee me 4 seasons at least.
He probably didn't have that kind of leverage at the time.
Yeah, I guess not.
I think the show's also a victim of of the time it was released. If something like this got released today, I think people would have been more accepting of it, and it might have been bigger. Because after this, we got Lost, and
Yeah,
television got more expensive. We get shit like Game of Thrones.
yeah. I wonder if maybe if this had come out like 10 years earlier or 10 years later, it might have been received differently in terms of like viewership and getting its full run of seasons. It seems like it probably did come out at the wrong time.
Yeah, but then also, if this had been released later than it did, it might not have had the same actors in it, and it's kind of hard for me to imagine anyone else in these roles, especially Clancy Brown as brother Justin.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. If they ever decided somehow to continue this, like it just wouldn't be possible because I mean one of the actors is dead, right? At least.
I think pretty much the entire main cast still lives, but Michael Anderson, who plays Samson, is insane now.
Oh, he's still alive.
Yeah,
Okay, I thought he died.
yeah, he lives, but I don't think he's right in the head.
Okay, well, yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah, because he's so damn good on this. That's the other thing about him is that he's great on Twin Peaks, but his character is so he appears in such short bursts, and his whole gimmick is he has to talk backwards. So I feel like you don't really get to really see what he can do as an actor because
Yeah,
his character is basically a troll. And in this, he's a three-dimensional character.
yeah, that's a shame.
So, what is your final number grade on a scale of 1 to 10 of Carnival season 1?
I'm sitting probably between a 7 or an 8.
Mm.
Like I said, I liked it. I'm not like enamored with it or enthralled by it. I like the central characters, and I like where their stories are going. I just wish we could have gotten there faster. Just the pacing and the progression is all wrong. Um, there's not enough in this part of the show, and then this character disappears for this section of the show, and then this is like front loaded, and then stuff is like back loaded here. A little more like even pacing and even progression. I think this would have been much better. And again, I'm not really sold on the main character, Nick Stahl as Ben. I just I think he's like the most he's like the blandest character on the show, just because he's like the straight white bread dude who wants to do everything right, and I can't do this, I can't do that, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. It's like, do something, because that's what makes characters interesting is when they do things. Now that he's got a kill under his belt, maybe we'll actually get some interesting stuff with him in the next season.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see what you think of season two. Looking forward to starting that very soon. I would give this a strong 9 out of 10. I love this season. I love this show. Um, got a few issues with it. Yeah, too glacially paced at times, and the whole carnival love rectangle or love octagon. It's a mess at times. There's a little too much interpersonal relationships, but every character is dynamic and fantastically well acted, and I feel like everyone is multi-layered, and I was always interested to see where it would go next. I got emotionally invested in this.
That's another thing. I didn't get that from this season. Hopefully, the second one hooks me a little bit more. I was more just like, yeah, this is I like watching these characters and see what they do. But there's nothing that's like really got me emotionally invested yet.
Hmm. Okay, then. So until season two. In the meantime, if you haven't seen Carnivàle yet, I don't know why you would be watching this, but in the event that you did watch through this, watch the show. It's great. It's on
Yeah,
HBO Max.
you can watch sandstorms buffer in 480p and turn into pixels.
Yeah, that's the other thing. HBO Max, fix your goddamn app.